Paper 22, The Trinitized Sons of God. There are three groups of beings who are called sons of God. In addition to descending and ascending orders of sonship, there is a third group known as the Trinitized Sons of God. The Trinitized order of sonship is subdivided into three primary divisions in accordance with the origins of its many types of personalities, revealed and unrevealed. These primary divisions are 1. Deity Trinitized Sons, 2. Trinity-embraced sons, 3. Creature Trinitized sons. Irrespective of origin, all Trinitized sons of God have in common the experience of Trinitization, either as a part of their origin or as an experience of Trinity embrace subsequently attained. The deity Trinitized sons are unrevealed in these narratives. Therefore will this presentation be confined to a portrayal of the remaining two groups, more particularly the Trinity-embraced sons of God. 1. The Trinity-embraced sons. All Trinity-embraced sons are originally of dual or single origin, but subsequent to the Trinity embrace, they are forever devoted to Trinity service and assignment. This core, as revealed and as organized for super-universe service, embraces 7 orders of personalities. 1. Mighty messengers. 2. Those high in authority. 3. Those without name and number. 4. Trinitized custodians. 5. Trinitized ambassadors. 6. Celestial guardians. 7. High Sun assistants. These 7 groups of personalities are further classified, according to origin, nature, and function, into 3 major divisions: the Trinitized sons of attainment, the Trinitized sons of selection, and the Trinitized sons of perfection. The Trinitized sons of attainment, the mighty messengers, those high in authority, and those without name and number, are all adjuster-fused ascendant mortals who have attained paradise and the core of the finality. But they are not finaliters. When they have been Trinity embraced, their names are removed from the finaliter roll call. The new sons of this order pass through specific courses of training for comparatively short periods on the circuit headquarters planets of the Havona circuits under the direction of the Eternals of Days. Thereafter they are assigned to the services of the Ancients of Days in the 7 super-universes. The Trinitized sons of selection embrace the Trinitized custodians and the Trinitized ambassadors. They are recruited from certain of the evolutionary seraphim and translated midway creatures who have traversed Havona and have attained paradise, as well as from certain of the spirit-fused and the sun-fused mortals who have likewise ascended to the central isle of light and life. Subsequent to their embrace by the Paradise Trinity, and after a brief training in Havona, the Trinitized sons of selection are assigned to the courts of the Ancients of Days. The Trinitized sons of perfection. The celestial guardians and their coordinates, the High Sun assistants, comprise a unique group of twice Trinitized personalities. They are the creature Trinitized sons of Paradise Havona personalities, or of perfected ascendant mortals who have long distinguished themselves in the core of the finality. Some of these creature Trinitized sons, after service with the supreme executives of the 7 master spirits and after serving under the Trinity teacher sons, are re-Trinitized, embraced by the Paradise Trinity, and then commissioned to the courts of the Ancients of Days as celestial guardians and as High Sun assistants. Trinitized sons of perfection are assigned directly to the super-universe service without further training. Our Trinity origin associates, perfecters of wisdom, divine counselors, and universal censors, are of stationary numbers, but the Trinity-embraced sons are constantly increasing. All 7 orders of Trinity-embraced sons are commissioned as members of one of the 7 super-universe governments, and the number in the service of each super-universe is exactly the same. Not one has ever been lost. Trinity-embraced beings have never gone astray. They may stumble temporarily, but not one has ever been adjudged in contempt of the super-universe governments. The sons of attainment and the sons of selection have never faltered in the service of Orvantan, but the trinitized sons of perfection have sometimes erred in judgment and thereby caused transient confusion. Under the direction of the Ancients of Days, all 7 orders function very much as self-governing groups. Their scope of service is far-flung. Trinitized sons of perfection do not leave the super-universe of assignment, but their trinitized associates range the grand universe, journeying from the evolutionary worlds of time and space to the eternal isle of paradise. They may function in any of the super-universes, but they do so always as members of the super-government of original designation. Apparently, the Trinity-embraced sons have been permanently assigned to the service of the 7 super-universes. Certainly this assignment is for the duration of the present universe age, but we have never been informed that it is to be eternal. 2. The Mighty Messengers. Mighty messengers belong to the ascendant group of the Trinitized sons. They are a class of perfected mortals who have been rebellion-tested or otherwise equally proved as to their personal loyalty. All have passed through some definite test of universe allegiance. At some time in their paradise ascent, they stood firm and loyal in the face of the disloyalty of their superiors, and some did actively and loyally function in the places of such unfaithful leaders. With such personal records of fidelity and devotion, these ascending mortals pass on through Havona with the stream of the pilgrims of time, attain paradise, graduate therefrom, and are mustered into the core of the finality. Thereupon they are trinitized in the secret embrace of the Paradise Trinity, and subsequently are commissioned to become associated with the Ancients of Days in the administration of the governments of the 7 super-universes. Every ascendant mortal of insurrectionary experience who functions loyally in the face of rebellion is eventually destined to become a mighty messenger of the super-universe service. Likewise is any ascendant creature who effectively prevents such upheavals of error, evil, or sin. For action designed to prevent rebellion or to effect higher types of loyalty in a universe crisis is regarded as of even greater value than loyalty in the face of actual rebellion. The senior mighty messengers were chosen from those ascendant mortals of time and space who were among the earlier paradise arrivals, many having traversed Havona in the times of Granfanda. But the first trinitizing of mighty messengers was not effected until the candidate corps contained representatives from each of the 7 super-universes. And the last group of this order to qualify on paradise embraced descendant pilgrims from the local universe of Nebadon. Mighty messengers are embraced by the Paradise Trinity in classes of 700,000, 100,000 for assignment to each super-universe. Almost 1 trillion mighty messengers are commissioned on Uversa, and there is every reason to believe that the number serving in each of the 7 super-universes is exactly the same. I am a mighty messenger, and it may interest Urantians to know that the companion and associate of my mortal experience was also triumphant in the great test, and that, though we were many times and for long periods separated in the age-long inward ascent to Havona, we were embraced in the same 700,000 group, and that we spent our time passing through Vice Jerrington in close and loving association. We were finally commissioned and together assigned to Uversa of Orvantan, and we are often dispatched in company for the execution of assignments requiring the services of 2 messengers. Mighty messengers, in common with all Trinity-embraced sons, are assigned to all phases of super-universe activities. They maintain constant connection with their headquarters through the Super-Universe Reflectivity Service. Mighty messengers serve in all sectors of a super-universe and frequently execute missions to the local universes and even to the individual worlds, as I do on this occasion. In the super-universe courts, mighty messengers act as defenders of both individuals and planets when they come up for adjudication. They also assist the perfections of days in the direction of the affairs of the major sectors. As a group, their chief assignment is that of super-universe observers. They are stationed on the various headquarters worlds and on individual planets of importance as the official observers of the Ancients of Days. When so assigned, they also serve as advisors to the authorities directing the affairs of the spheres of their sojourn. The messengers take active part in all phases of the ascendant scheme of mortal progression. With their associates of mortal origin, they keep the super-governments in close and personal touch with the status and progression of the plans of the descending sons of God. Mighty messengers are fully conscious of their entire ascendant careers, and that is why they are such useful and sympathetic ministers, understanding messengers, for service on any world of space and to any creature of time. As soon as you are delivered from the flesh, you will communicate freely and understandingly with us, since we spring from all the races on all the evolutionary worlds of space, that is, from those mortal races that are indwelt by and subsequently fused with thought adjusters. 3. Those high in authority. Those high in authority, the second group of the trinitized sons of attainment, are all adjuster-fused beings of mortal origin. These are the perfected mortals who have exhibited superior administrative ability and have shown extraordinary executive genius throughout their long ascending careers. They are the cream of governing ability derived from the surviving mortals of space. 70,000 of those high in authority are trinitized at each Trinity liaison. Though the local universe of Nebadon is a comparatively young creation, it has representatives among a recently trinitized class of this order. There are now commissioned in Orvanton more than 10 billion of these skillful administrators. Like all separate orders of celestial beings, they maintain their own headquarters on Uversa, and like the other Trinity-embraced sons, their reserves on Uversa act as the central directing body of their order in Orvanton. Those high in authority are administrators without limitation. They are the everywhere present and always efficient executives of the Ancients of Days. They serve on any sphere, on any inhabited world, and in any phase of activity in any of the 7 super-universes. Having superb administrative wisdom and unusual executive skill, these brilliant beings assume to present the cause of justice in behalf of the super-universe tribunals. They foster the execution of justice and the rectification of misadaptations in the evolutionary universes. Therefore, if you should ever be cited for errors of judgment while you are ascending the worlds and spheres of your ordained cosmic progression, it is hardly likely that you would suffer injustice, since your prosecutors would be one-time ascendant creatures who are personally familiar with every step of the career you have traversed and are traversing. 4. Those without name and number. Those without name and number constitute the third and last group of the trinitized sons of attainment. They are the ascendant souls who have developed the ability to worship beyond the skill of all the sons and daughters of the evolutionary races from the worlds of time and space. They have acquired a spiritual concept of the eternal purpose of the Universal Father, which comparatively transcends the comprehension of the evolutionary creatures of name or number. Therefore are they denominated those without name and number. More strictly translated, their name would be those above name and number. This order of sons is embraced by the Paradise Trinity in groups of 7,000. There are of record on Uversa over 100 million of these sons commissioned in Orvantan. Since those without name and number are the superior spiritual minds of the survival races, they are especially qualified to sit in judgment and to render opinions when a spiritual viewpoint is desirable, and when experience in the ascendant career is essential to an adequate comprehension of the questions involved in the problem to be adjudicated. They are the supreme jurors of Orvantan. A maladministered jury system may be more or less of a travesty of justice on some worlds, but on Uversa and its extension tribunals we employ the highest type of evolved spiritual mentality as juror-judges. Adjudication is the highest function of any government, and those who are instructed with verdict rendering should be chosen from the highest and most noble types of the most experienced and understanding individuals. The selection of candidates for the trinitization classes of mighty messengers, those high in authority and those without name and number, is inherent and automatic. The selective techniques of Paradise are not in any sense arbitrary. Personal experience and spiritual values determine the personnel of the trinitized sons of attainment. Such beings are equal in authority and uniform in administrative status, but they all possess individuality and diverse characters. They are not standardized beings. All are characteristically different, depending on the differentials of their ascendant careers. In addition to these experiential qualifications, the trinitized sons of attainment have been trinitized in the divine embrace of the Paradise deities. Consequently, they function as the coordinate associates of the stationary sons of the Trinity, for the Trinity embrace does seem to precipitate out of the stream of future time many of the unrealized potentials of creature beings. But this is true concerning only that which pertains to the present universe age. This group of sons is chiefly, but not wholly, concerned with the services of the ascendant career of the time-space mortals. If the viewpoint of a mortal creature is ever in doubt, the question is settled by appeal to an ascendant commission consisting of a mighty messenger, one high in authority, and one without name and number. You mortals who read this message may yourselves ascend to Paradise, attain the Trinity embrace, and in remote future ages be attached to the service of the Ancients of Days in one of the 7 super-universes, and sometime be assigned to enlarge the revelation of truth to some evolving inhabited planet, even as I am now functioning on Urantia. 5. The Trinitized Custodians. The trinitized custodians are trinitized sons of selection. Not only do your races and other mortals of survival value traverse Havona, attain paradise, and sometimes find themselves destined to super-universe service with the stationary sons of the Trinity, but your faithful seraphic guardians and your equally faithful midway associates may also become candidates for the same Trinity recognition and superb personality destiny. Trinitized custodians are ascendant seraphim and translated midway creatures who have passed through Havona and have attained paradise and the core of the finality. Subsequently, they were embraced by the Paradise Trinity and were assigned to the service of the Ancients of Days. The candidates for the Trinity embrace from among the ascendant seraphim are accorded this recognition because of their valiant cooperation with some ascendant mortal who attained the core of the finality and was subsequently trinitized. My own seraphic guardian of the mortal career went through with me, was later trinitized, and now is attached to the Uversa government as a trinitized custodian. And so with the midway creatures, many are translated and achieve paradise and, along with the seraphim and for the same reasons, are Trinity embraced and commissioned as custodians in the super-universes. The Trinitized custodians are embraced by the Paradise Trinity in groups of 70,000, and 1/7 of each group is assigned to a super-universe. There are now in the service of Orvanton slightly over 10 million of these trusted and high custodians. They serve on Uversa and on the major and minor headquarters spheres. In their labors they are assisted by a corps of several billion Sekanothim and other able super-universe personalities. The Trinitized custodians start out their careers as custodians, and they continue as such in the affairs of the super-governments. In a way, they are officers of their super-universe governments, but they do not deal with individuals, as do the celestial guardians. The Trinitized custodians administer group affairs and foster collective projects. They are the custodians of records, plans, and institutions. They act as the trustees of undertakings, personality groups, ascendant projects, Urantia plans, universe projections, and innumerable other enterprises. 6. The Trinitized ambassadors. Trinitized ambassadors are the second order of the Trinitized sons of selection, and like their associates, the custodians, are recruited from two types of ascendant creatures. Not all ascending mortals are adjuster or father fused. Some are spirit fused. Some are sun fused. Certain of these spirit and sun fused mortals reach Havona and attain paradise. From among these paradise ascenders, candidates are selected for the Trinity embrace, and from time to time they are trinitized in classes of 7,000. They are then commissioned in the super-universes as Trinitized ambassadors of the Ancients of Days. Almost 1/2 billion are registered on Uversa. Trinitized ambassadors are selected for the Trinity embrace upon the advices of their Havona teachers. They represent the superior minds of their respective groups and are, therefore, best qualified to assist the super-universe rulers in understanding and in administering the interest of those worlds from which the spirit-fused mortals hail. The sun-fused ambassadors are of great assistance in our dealings with problems involving the sun-fused order of personality. Trinitized ambassadors are the emissaries of the Ancients of Days, for any and all purposes, to any and all worlds or universes within the super-universe of their assignment. They render particular and important services on the headquarters of the minor sectors, and they perform the numberless miscellaneous assignments of a super-universe. They are the emergency or reserve corps of the Trinitized sons of the super-governments, and they are therefore available for a great range of duties. They engage in thousands upon thousands of undertakings in super-universe affairs, which it is impossible to portray to human minds, since there is nothing transpiring on Urantia that is in any way analogous to these activities. 7. Technique of Trinitization. I cannot fully unfold to the material mind the experience of the supreme creative performance of perfect and perfected spiritual beings, the act of trinitization. The techniques of trinitization are among the secrets of Vicegerrington and Solitarington, and are revealable to, and understandable by, none save those who have passed through these unique experiences. Therefore is it beyond the possibility of any being successfully to portray to the human mind the nature and purport of this extraordinary transaction. Aside from the deities, only Paradise Havona personalities and certain members of each of the Finaliter Corps engage in trinitization. Under specialized conditions of Paradise perfection, these superb beings may embark upon the unique adventure of concept identity, and they are many times successful in the production of a new being, a creature trinitized son. The glorified creatures who engage in such adventures of trinitization may participate in only one such experience, whereas with the paradise deities there seems to be no limit to the continued enactment of trinitization episodes. Deity seems to be limited in just one respect. There can be only one original and infinite spirit, only one infinite executive of the united will of the Father-Son. The ascendant adjuster-fused mortal finaliters who have attained certain levels of paradise culture and spiritual development are among those who can essay to trinitize a creature being. Mortal finaliter companies, when stationed on paradise, are granted a recess every millennium of Havona time. There are 7 different ways such finaliters may elect to spend this duty-free period, and one of these is, in association with some fellow finalitor or some paradise Havona personality, to attempt the enactment of creature trinitization. If 2 mortal finaliters, on going before the architects of the master universe, demonstrate that they have independently chosen an identical concept for trinitization, the architects are empowered, on their own discretion, to promulgate mandates permitting these glorified mortal ascenders to extend their recess and to remove themselves for a time to the trinitizing sector of the paradise citizens. At the end of this assigned retreat, if they report that they have singly and jointly elected to make the paradisiacal effort to spiritualize, idealize, and actualize a selected and original concept which has not theretofore been trinitized, then does Master Spirit Number 7 issue orders authorizing such an extraordinary undertaking. Unbelievably long periods of time are sometimes consumed in these adventures. An age seems to pass before these faithful and determined one-time mortals, and sometimes paradise Havona personalities, finally achieve their goal, really succeed in bringing their chosen concept of universal truth into actual being. And not always do these devoted couples meet with success. Many times they fail, and that through no discoverable error on their part. Candidates for trinitization who thus fail are admitted to a special group of finaliters who are designated as beings who have made the supreme effort and sustained the supreme disappointment. When the paradise deities unite to trinitize, they always succeed, but not so with a homogeneous pair of creatures, the attempted union of 2 members of the same order of being. When a new and original being is trinitized by the gods, the divine parents are in deity potential unchanged. But when exalted creature beings enact such a creative episode, one of the contracting and participating individuals undergoes a unique personality modification. The 2 ancestors of a creature trinitized son become in a certain sense spiritually as one. We believe that this status of bi-unification of certain spiritual phases of personality will probably prevail until such time as the Supreme Being shall have attained full and completed manifestation of personality in the grand universe. Simultaneously with the appearance of a new creature trinitized son, there occurs this functional spiritual union of the 2 ancestors. The 2 trinitizing parents become one on the ultimate functional level. No created being in the universe can fully explain this amazing phenomenon. It is a near divine experience. When the Father and the Son united to eternalize the infinite Spirit, upon the accomplishment of their purpose, they immediately became as one, and ever since have been one. And while the trinitization union of 2 creatures is on the order of the infinite scope of the perfect deity union of the universal Father and the eternal Son, the repercussions of creature trinitization are not eternal in nature. They will terminate upon the completed factualization of the experiential deities. While these parents of creature trinitized sons become as one in their universe assignments, they continue to be reckoned as 2 personalities in the makeup and roll calls of the core of the finality and of the architects of the master universe. During the current universe age, all trinitization united parents are inseparable in assignment and function. Where one goes, the other goes. What one does, the other does. If parental biunification involves a mortal or other finaliter and a Paradise Havona personality, the united parental beings function neither with the Paradisers, Havoners, nor finaliters. Such mixed unions foregather in a special core made up of similar beings. And in all trinitization unions, mixed or otherwise, the parental beings are conscious of, and can communicate with, each other, and they can perform duties that neither could have previously discharged. The seven master spirits have authority to sanction the trinitizing union of finaliters and Paradise Havona personalities, and such mixed liaisons are always successful. The resultant magnificent creature trinitized sons are representative of concepts unsuited to the comprehension of either the eternal creatures of paradise or the time creatures of space. Hence they become the wards of the architects of the master universe. These trinitized sons of destiny embody ideas, ideals, and experience which apparently pertain to a future universe age, and are therefore of no immediate practical value to either the super or central universe administrations. These unique sons of the children of time and the citizens of eternity are all held in reserve on Vice Jerrington, where they are engaged in the study of the concepts of time and the realities of eternity in a special sector of the sphere occupied by the secret colleges of the core of the Creator Sons. The Supreme Being is the unification of three phases of deity reality: God the Supreme, the spiritual unification of certain finite aspects of the Paradise Trinity, the Almighty Supreme, the power unification of the grand universe creators, and the Supreme Mind, the individual contribution of the third source and center and his coordinates to the reality of the Supreme Being. In their trinitization adventures, the superb creatures of the central universe and paradise are engaged in a threefold exploration of the deity of the Supreme, which results in the production of three orders of creature trinitized sons. 1. Ascender trinitized sons. In their creative efforts, the finaliters are attempting to trinitize certain conceptual realities of the Almighty Supreme, which they have experientially acquired in their ascension through time and space to paradise. 2. Paradise Havona trinitized sons. The creative efforts of the paradise citizens and the Havoners result in the trinitization of certain high spiritual aspects of the Supreme Being which they have experientially acquired on a super-supreme background bordering on the ultimate and the eternal. 3. Trinitized sons of destiny. But when a finaliter and a Paradise Havoner together trinitize a new creature, this conjoint effort repercusses in certain phases of the Supreme Ultimate Mind. The resulting creature trinitized sons are super-creational. They represent actualities of Supreme Ultimate Deity, which have not been otherwise experientially attained, and which, therefore, automatically fall within the province of the architects of the Master Universe, custodians of those things which transcend the creational limits of the present universe age. The trinitized sons of destiny embody certain aspects of the unrevealed Master Universe function of the Supreme Ultimate. We do not know a great deal about these conjoint children of time and eternity, but we know much more than we are permitted to reveal. 8. The creature trinitized sons. In addition to the creature trinitized sons considered in this narrative, there are numerous unrevealed orders of creature trinitized beings, the diverse progeny of the multiple liaisons of 7 finaliter core and Paradise Havona personalities. But all these creature trinitized beings, revealed and unrevealed, are endowed with personality by the Universal Father. New Ascender trinitized and Paradise Havona trinitized sons are young and untrained. They are usually dispatched for long periods of service on the 7 paradise spheres of the Infinite Spirit, where they serve under the tutelage of the 7 supreme executives. Subsequently, they may be adopted for further training in the local universes by the Trinity teacher sons. These adopted sons of high and glorified creature origin are the apprentices, student helpers of the teacher sons, and as regards classification, they are often temporarily numbered with these sons. They may and do execute many noble assignments in self-denial in behalf of their chosen realms of service. The teacher sons in the local universes may nominate their creature trinitized wards for embrace by the Paradise Trinity. Emerging from this embrace as trinitized sons of perfection, they enter the service of the Ancients of Days in the 7 super-universes, that being the present known destiny of this unique group of twice trinitized beings. Not all creature trinitized sons are Trinity embraced. Many become the associates and ambassadors of the 7 master spirits of paradise, of the reflective spirits of the super-universes, and of the mother spirits of the local creations. Others may accept special assignments on the Eternal Isle. Still others may enter the special services on the secret worlds of the Father and on the paradise spheres of the Spirit. Eventually, many find their way into the conjoint core of the trinitized sons on the inner circuit of Havona. Accepting the trinitized sons of perfection and those who are foregathering on Vicegerrington, the supreme destiny of all creature trinitized sons appears to be entrance into the core of trinitized finaliters, one of the 7 paradise core of the finality. 9. The Celestial Guardians. Creature trinitized sons are embraced by the Paradise Trinity in classes of 7,000. These trinitized offspring of perfected humans and of Paradise Havona personalities are all equally embraced by the deities, but they are assigned to the super-universes in accordance with the advice of their former instructors, the Trinity teacher sons. Those of more acceptable service are commissioned high sun assistants. Those of less distinguished performance are designated celestial guardians. When these unique beings have been Trinity embraced, they become valuable adjuncts to the super-universe governments. They are versed in the affairs of the ascendant career, not by personal ascension, but as a result of their service with the Trinity teacher sons on the worlds of space. Almost 1 billion celestial guardians have been commissioned in Orvantan. They are chiefly assigned to the administrations of the perfections of days on the headquarters of the major sectors, and are ably assisted by a corps of ascendant sun-fused mortals. The celestial guardians are the officers of the courts of the Ancients of Days, functioning as court messengers and as bearers of the summonses and decisions of the various tribunals of the super-universe governments. They are the apprehending agents of the Ancients of Days. They go forth from Uversa to bring back beings whose presence is required before the super-universe judges. They execute the mandates for the detention of any personality in the super-universe. They also accompany spirit-fused mortals of the local universes when, for any reason, their presence is required on Uversa. The celestial guardians and their associates, the high sun assistants, have never been indwelt by adjusters. Neither are they spirit nor sun-fused. The embrace of the Paradise Trinity does, however, compensate for the non-fused status of the trinitized sons of perfection. The Trinity embrace may act solely upon the idea which is personified in a creature trinitized son, leaving the embraced son otherwise unchanged, but such a limitation occurs only when so planned. These twice trinitized sons are marvelous beings, but they are neither as versatile nor dependable as their ascendant associates. They lack that tremendous and profound personal experience which the rest of the sons belonging to this group have acquired by actually climbing up to glory from the dark domains of space. We of the ascendant career love them and do all in our power to compensate their deficiencies, but they make us ever grateful for our lowly origin and our capacity for experience. Their willingness to recognize and acknowledge their deficiencies in the experienceable realities of universe ascension is transcendently beautiful and sometimes most touchingly pathetic. Trinitized sons of perfection are limited in contrast to other Trinity-embraced sons because their experiential capacity is time-space inhibited. They are experience deficient, despite long training with the supreme executives and the teacher sons, and if this were not the case, experiential saturation would preclude their being left in reserve for acquiring experience in a future universe age. There is simply nothing in all universal existence which can take the place of actual personal experience, and these creature trinitized sons are held in reserve for experiential function in some future universe epoch. On the mansion worlds, I have often seen these dignified officers of the high courts of the super-universe look so longingly and appealingly at even the recent arrivals from the evolutionary worlds of space that one could not help realizing that these possessors of non-experiential trinitization really envied their supposedly less fortunate brethren who ascend the universal path by steps of bona fide experience and actual living. Notwithstanding their handicaps and limitations, they are a wonderfully useful and ever-willing corps of workers when it comes to the execution of the complex administrative plans of the super-universe governments. 10. High Sun Assistants. The High Sun Assistants are the superior group of the trinitized sons of glorified ascendant beings of the mortal core of the finality and of their eternal associates, the Paradise Havona personalities. They are assigned to the super-universe service and function as personal aides to the high sons of the governments of the Ancients of Days. They might fittingly be denominated private secretaries. They act, from time to time, as clerks for special commissions and other group associations of the high sons. They serve perfecters of wisdom, divine counselors, universal censors, mighty messengers, those high in authority, and those without name and number. If, in discussing the celestial guardians, I have seemed to call attention to the limitations and handicaps of these twice trinitized sons, let me now, in all fairness, call attention to their one point of great strength, the attribute which makes them almost invaluable to us. These beings owe their very existence to the fact that they are the personification of a single and supreme concept. They are the personality embodiment of some divine idea, some universal ideal, as it has never before been conceived, expressed, or trinitized, and they have subsequently been Trinity embraced. Thus they show forth and actually embody the very wisdom of the divine Trinity as concerns the ideal of their personality existence. As far as that particular concept is revealable to the universes, these personalities embody all of everything that any creature or creator intelligence could possibly conceive, express, or exemplify. They are that idea personified. Can you not see that such living concentrations of a single supreme concept of universe reality would be of untold service to those who are entrusted with the administration of the super-universes? Not long since, I was directed to head a commission of 6, one of each of the high sons, assigned to the study of 3 problems pertaining to a group of new universes in the south parts of Orvantan. I was made acutely aware of the value of the high sun assistants when I made requisition on the chief of their order on Uversa for temporary assignment of such secretaries to my commission. The first of our ideas was represented by a high sun assistant on Uversa, who was forthwith attached to our group. Our second problem was embodied in a high sun assistant assigned to super-universe number 3. We secured much help from this source through the Central Universe Clearinghouse for the coordination and dissemination of essential knowledge, but nothing comparable to the assistance afforded by the actual presence of a personality who is a concept, creature trinitized in supremacy and deity trinitized in finality. Concerning our third problem, the records of Paradise disclose that such an idea had never been creature trinitized. High Sun assistants are unique and original personalizations of tremendous concepts and stupendous ideals, and as such they are able to impart inexpressible illumination to our deliberations from time to time. When I am acting on some remote assignment out in the universes of space, think what it means by way of assistance if I am so fortunate as to have attached to my mission a High Sun assistant who is the fullness of divine concept regarding the very problem I have been sent to attack and solve. And I have repeatedly had this very experience. The only difficulty with this plan is that no super-universe can have a complete edition of these trinitized ideas. We only get 1/7 of these beings, so it is only about 1 time in 7 that we enjoy the personal association of these beings, even when the records indicate that the idea has been trinitized. We could use to great advantage much larger numbers of these beings on Uversa. Because of their value to the super-universe administrations, we, in every way possible, encourage the pilgrims of space, and also the residents of paradise, to attempt trinitization after they have contributed to one another those experiential realities which are essential to the enactment of such creative adventures. We now have in our super-universe about 1.25 million High Sun assistants, and they serve on both the major and minor sectors, even as they function on Uversa. They very often accompany us on our assignments to the remote universes. High Sun assistants are not permanently assigned to any sun or to any commission. They are in constant circulation, serving where the idea or ideal which they are can best further the eternal purposes of the Paradise Trinity, whose sons they have become. They are touchingly affectionate, superbly loyal, exquisitely intelligent, supremely wise, regarding a single idea, and transcendently humble. While they can impart to you the lore of the universe concerning their one idea or ideal, it is well nigh pathetic to observe them seeking knowledge and information on hosts of other subjects, even from the ascending mortals. And this is the narrative of the origin, nature, and functioning of certain of those who are called the Trinitized Sons of God, more particularly of those who have passed through the divine embrace of the Paradise Trinity, and who have then been assigned to the services of the super-universes, there to give wise and understanding cooperation with the administrators of the Ancients of Days in their untiring efforts to facilitate the inward progress of the ascending mortals of time toward their immediate Havona destination and their eventual paradise goal.
Narrated by a mighty messenger of the revelatory corps of Orvanton.
Paper 23. The Solitary Messengers. Solitary messengers are the personal and universal core of the conjoint Creator. They are the first and senior order of the higher personalities of the Infinite Spirit. They represent the initial creative action of the Infinite Spirit in solitary function for the purpose of bringing into existence solitary personality spirits. Neither the Father nor the Son directly participated in this stupendous spiritualization. These spirit messengers were personalized in a single creative episode, and their number is stationary. Although I have one of these extraordinary beings associated with me on this present mission, I do not know how many such personalities exist in the universe of universes. I only know, from time to time, how many are of registry record as functioning for the time being within the jurisdiction of our super-universe. From the last Uversa report, I observed that there were almost 7,690 trillion solitary messengers then operating within the boundaries of Orvanton, and I conjecture that this is considerably less than 1/7 of their total number. 1. Nature and origin of solitary messengers. Immediately following the creation of the 7 spirits of the Havona circuits, the Infinite Spirit brought into being the vast core of solitary messengers. There is no part of the universal creation which is pre-existent to the solitary messengers except paradise and the Havona circuits. They have functioned throughout the grand universe from near eternity. They are fundamental to the divine technique of the infinite spirit for self-revelation to and personal contact with the far-flung creations of time and space. Notwithstanding that these messengers are existent from the near times of eternity, they are all aware of a beginning of selfhood. They are conscious of time, being the first of the creation of the infinite spirit to possess such a time consciousness. They are the firstborn creatures of the infinite spirit to be personalized in time and spiritualized in space. These solitary spirits came forth in the dawn of time as full-fledged and perfectly endowed spirit beings. They are all equal, and there are no classes or subdivisions founded on personal variation. Their classifications are based wholly on the type of work to which they are assigned from time to time. Mortals start out as well-nigh material beings on the worlds of space, and ascend inward towards the great centers. These solitary spirits start out at the center of all things and crave assignment to the remote creations, even to the individual worlds of the outermost local universes, and even on beyond. Though denominated solitary messengers, they are not lonesome spirits, for they truly like to work alone. They are the only beings in all creation who can and do enjoy a solitary existence, albeit they equally enjoy association with the very few orders of universe intelligence with whom they can fraternize. Solitary messengers are not isolated in their service. They are constantly in touch with the wealth of the intellect of all creation, as they are capable of listening in on all the broadcasts of the realms of their sojourn. They can also intercommunicate with members of their own immediate core, those beings doing the same kind of work in the same super-universe. They could communicate with others of their number, but they have been directed by the Council of the Seven Master Spirits not to do so, and they are a loyal group. They do not disobey or default. There is no record that a solitary messenger ever stumbled into darkness. The solitary messengers, like the universe power directors, are among the very few types of beings operating throughout the realms who are exempt from apprehension or detention by the tribunals of time and space. They could be cited to appear before no one except the seven master spirits, but not in all the annals of the master universe has this Paradise Council ever been called upon to adjudicate the case of a solitary messenger. These messengers of solitary assignment are a dependable, self-reliant, versatile, thoroughly spiritual, and broadly sympathetic group of created beings derived from the third source and center. They operate by the authority of the infinite spirit resident on the central isle of Paradise, and as personalized on the headquarters spheres of the local universes. They are constant partakers of the direct circuit emanating from the infinite spirit, even when they function in the local creations under the immediate influence of the local universe mother spirits. There is a technical reason why these solitary messengers must travel and work alone. For short periods, and when stationary, they can collaborate in a group, but when thus ensembled, they are altogether cut off from the sustenance and direction of their paradise circuit. They are wholly isolated. When in transit or when operating in the circuits of space and the currents of time, if two or more of this order are in close proximity, both or all are thrown out of liaison with the higher circulating forces. They are short-circuited, as you might describe it in illustrative symbols. Therefore, they have inherent within them a power of automatic alarm, a warning signal, which unerringly operates to apprise them of approaching conflicts, and unfailingly keeps them sufficiently separated as not to interfere with their proper and effective functioning. They also possess inherent and automatic powers which detect and indicate the proximity of both the inspired Trinity spirits and the divine thought adjusters. These messengers possess no power of personality extension or reproduction, but there is practically no work of the universes in which they cannot engage, and to which they cannot contribute something essential and helpful. Especially are they the great time-savers for those who are concerned in the administration of universe affairs, and they assist us all, from the highest to the lowest. 2. Assignments of solitary messengers. Solitary messengers are not permanently attached to any individual or group of celestial personalities. They are on duty, always by assignment, and during such service they work under the immediate supervision of those who direct the realms of their attachment. Among themselves, they have neither organization nor government of any kind. They are solitary messengers. Solitary messengers are assigned by the Infinite Spirit to the following 7 divisions of service. 1. Messengers of the Paradise Trinity. 2. Messengers of the Havona Circuits. 3. Messengers of the Super-Universes. 4. Messengers of the Local Universes. 5. Explorers of Undirected Assignment. 6. Ambassadors and Emissaries of Special Assignment. 7. Revelators of Truth. These spirit messengers are in every sense interchangeable from one type of service to another. Such transfers are constantly taking place. There are no separate orders of solitary messengers. They are spiritually alike and in every sense equal. While they are generally designated by number, they are known to the Infinite Spirit by personal names. They are known to the rest of us by the name or number designative of their current assignment. 1. Messengers of the Paradise Trinity. I am not permitted to reveal much of the work of the group of messengers assigned to the Trinity. They are the trusted and secret servants of the deities, and when entrusted with special messages which involve the unrevealed policies and future conduct of the gods, they have never been known to divulge a secret or betray the confidence reposed in their order. And all this is related in this connection, not to appear boastful of their perfection, but rather to point out that the deities can and do create perfect beings. The confusion and turmoil of Urantia do not signify that the paradise rulers lack either interest or ability to manage affairs differently. The creators are possessed of full power to make Urantia a veritable paradise. But such an Eden would not contribute to the development of those strong, noble, and experienced characters which the gods are so surely forging out on your world between the anvils of necessity and the hammers of anguish. Your anxieties and sorrows, your trials and disappointments are just as much a part of the divine plan on your sphere as are the exquisite perfection and infinite adaptation of all things to their supreme purpose on the worlds of the central and perfect universe. 2. Messengers of the Havona Circuits. Throughout the ascendant career, you will be vaguely but increasingly able to detect the presence of the solitary messengers, but not until you reach Havona will you recognize them unmistakably. The first of the messengers you will see face to face will be those of the Havona Circuits. Solitary messengers enjoy special relations with the natives of the Havona worlds. These messengers, who are so functionally handicapped when associating with one another, can and do have a very close and personal communion with the Havona natives. But it is quite impossible to convey to human minds the supreme satisfactions consequent upon the contact of the minds of these divinely perfect beings with the spirits of such near transcendent personalities. 3. Messengers of the Super-Universes. The Ancients of Days, those personalities of Trinity origin who preside over the destinies of the 7 super-universes, those trios of divine power and administrative wisdom, are bountifully supplied with solitary messengers. It is only through this order of messengers that the triune rulers of one super-universe can directly and personally communicate with the rulers of another. Solitary messengers are the only available type of spirit intelligence, aside possibly from the inspired Trinity spirits, that can be dispatched from the headquarters of one super-universe directly to the headquarters of another. All other personalities must make such excursions by way of Havona and the executive worlds of the master spirits. There are some kinds of information which cannot be obtained either by gravity messengers, reflectivity, or broadcast. And when the Ancients of Days would certainly know these things, they must dispatch a solitary messenger to the source of knowledge. Long before the presence of life on Urantia, the messenger now associated with me was assigned on a mission out of Uversa to the Central Universe, was absent from the roll calls of Orvanton for almost 1,000,000 years, but returned in due time with the desired information. There is no limitation upon the service of solitary messengers in the superuniverses. They may function as executioners of the high tribunals, or as intelligence gatherers for the good of the realm. Of all the super-creations, they most delight to serve in Orvanton, because here the need is greatest, and the opportunities for heroic effort are greatly multiplied. In the more needy realms, we all enjoy the satisfaction of a more replete function. 4. Messengers of the local universes. In the services of a local universe, there is no limit upon the functioning of the solitary messengers. They are the faithful revealers of the motives and intent of the local universe Mother Spirit, although they are under the full jurisdiction of the reigning Master Sun. And this is true of all messengers operating in a local universe, whether they are traveling out directly from universe headquarters, or whether they are acting temporarily in liaison with constellation fathers, system sovereigns, or planetary princes. Before the concentration of all power in the hands of a Creator Sun, at the time of his elevation as sovereign ruler of his universe, these messengers of the local universes function under the general direction of the Ancients of Days, and are immediately responsible to their resident representative, the Union of Days. 5. Explorers of Undirected Assignment. When the reserve corps of the solitary messengers is over-recruited, there issues from one of the 7 Supreme Power Directors a call for exploration volunteers. And there is never a lack of volunteers, for they delight to be dispatched as free and untrammeled explorers to experience the thrill of finding the organizing nucleuses of new worlds and universes. They go forth to investigate the clues furnished by the space contemplators of the realms. Undoubtedly, the Paradise deities know of the existence of these undiscovered energy systems of space, but they never divulge such information. If the solitary messengers did not explore and chart these newly organizing energy centers, such phenomena would long remain unnoticed even by the intelligences of adjacent realms. Solitary messengers, as a class, are highly sensitive to gravity. Accordingly, they can sometimes detect the probable presence of very small dark planets, the very worlds which are best adapted to life experiments. These messenger explorers of undirected assignment patrol the master universe. They are constantly out on exploring expeditions to the uncharted regions of all outer space. Very much of the information which we possess of transactions in the realms of outer space we owe to the explorations of the solitary messengers, as they often work and study with the celestial astronomers. 6. Ambassadors and emissaries of special assignment. Local universes situated within the same super-universe customarily exchange ambassadors selected from their native orders of sonship. But to avoid delay, solitary messengers are frequently asked to go as ambassadors from one local creation to another, to represent and interpret one realm to another. For example, when a newly inhabited realm is discovered, it may prove to be so remote in space that a long time will pass before an enseraphimed ambassador can reach this far-distant universe. An enseraphimed being cannot possibly exceed the velocity of 558,840 Urantia miles in 1 second of your time. Massive stars, cross-currents, and detours, as well as attraction tangents, will all tend to retard such speed so that on a long journey the velocity will average about 550,000 miles per second. When it develops that it will require hundreds of years for a native ambassador to reach a far-distant local universe, a solitary messenger is often asked to proceed there immediately to act as ambassador ad interim. Solitary messengers can go in very short order, not independently of time and space as do the gravity messengers, but nearly so. They also serve in other circumstances as emissaries of special assignment. 7. Revelators of Truth. The solitary messengers regard the assignment to reveal truth as the highest trust of their order, and they function ever and anon in this capacity, from the superuniverses to the individual planets of space. They are frequently attached to commissions which are sent to enlarge the revelation of truth to the worlds and systems. 3. Time and space services of solitary messengers. The solitary messengers are the highest type of perfect and confidential personality available in all realms for the quick transmission of important and urgent messages when it is inexpedient to utilize either the broadcast service or the reflectivity mechanism. They serve in an endless variety of assignments, helping out the spiritual and material beings of the realms, particularly where the element of time is involved. Of all orders assigned to the services of the superuniverse domains, they are the highest and most versatile personalized beings who can come so near to defying time and space. The universe is well supplied with spirits who utilize gravity for purposes of transit. They can go anywhere, anytime, instanter, but they are not persons. Certain other gravity traversers are personal beings, such as gravity messengers and transcendental recorders, but they are not available to the super and the local universe administrators. The worlds teem with angels and men and other highly personal beings, but they are handicapped by time and space. The limit of velocity for most non-enseraphimed beings is 186,280 miles of your world per second of your time. The midway creatures and certain others can, often do, attain double velocity, 372,560 miles per second, while the seraphim and others can traverse space at triple velocity, about 558,840 miles per second. There are, however, no transit or messenger personalities who function between the instantaneous velocities of the gravity traversers and the comparatively slow speeds of the seraphim, except the solitary messengers. Solitary messengers are, therefore, generally used for dispatch and service in those situations where personality is essential to the achievement of the assignment, and where it is desired to avoid the loss of time which would be occasioned by the sending of any other readily available type of personal messenger. They are the only definitely personalized beings who can synchronize with the combined universal currents of the grand universe. Their velocity in traversing space is variable, depending on a great variety of interfering influences, but the record shows that on the journey to fulfill this mission, my associate messenger proceeded at the rate of 841,621,642,000 of your miles per second of your time. It is wholly beyond my ability to explain to the material type of mind how a spirit can be a real person and at the same time traverse space at such tremendous velocities. But these very solitary messengers actually come to and go from Urantia at these incomprehensible speeds. Indeed, the whole economy of universal administration would be largely deprived of its personal element were this not a fact. The solitary messengers are able to function as emergency lines of communication throughout remote space regions, realms not embraced within the established circuits of the grand universe. It develops that one messenger, when so functioning, can transmit a message or send an impulse through space to a fellow messenger about 100 light years away, as Urantia astronomers estimate stellar distances. Of the myriads of beings who cooperate with us in the conduct of the affairs of the superuniverse, none are more important in practical helpfulness and time-saving assistance. In the universes of space, we must reckon with the handicaps of time. Hence the great service of the solitary messengers, who, by means of their personal prerogatives of communication, are somewhat independent of space and, by virtue of their tremendous transit velocities, are so nearly independent of time. I am at a loss to explain to Urantia mortals how the solitary messengers can be without form and yet possess real and definite personalities. Although they are without that form which would naturally be associated with personality, they do possess a spirit presence, which is discernible by all higher types of spirit beings. The solitary messengers are the only class of beings who seem to be possessed of well-nigh all the advantages of a formless spirit, coupled with all the prerogatives of a full-fledged personality. They are true persons, yet endowed with nearly all of the attributes of impersonal spirit manifestation. In the 7 super-universes, ordinarily, but not always, everything which tends to increase any creature's liberation from the handicaps of time and space proportionately diminishes personality prerogatives. Solitary messengers are an exception to this general law. They are in their activities all but unrestricted in the utilization of any and all of the limitless avenues of spiritual expression, divine service, personal ministry, and cosmic communication. If you could view these extraordinary beings in the light of my experience in universe administration, you would comprehend how difficult it would be to coordinate super-universe affairs were it not for their versatile cooperation. No matter how much the universe may enlarge, no more solitary messengers will probably ever be created. As the universes grow, the expanded work of administration must be increasingly borne by other types of spirit ministers, and by those beings who take origin in these new creations, such as the creatures of the sovereign suns and the local universe mother spirits. 4. Special Ministry of Solitary Messengers. The solitary messengers seem to be personality coordinators for all types of spirit beings. Their ministry helps to make all the personalities of the far-flung spiritual world akin. They contribute much to the development in all spirit beings of a consciousness of group identity. Every type of spirit being is served by special groups of solitary messengers who foster the ability of such beings to understand and fraternize with all other types and orders, however dissimilar. The solitary messengers demonstrate such an amazing ability to coordinate all types and orders of finite personality, even to make contact with the Absonite regime of the Master Universe over-controllers, that some of us postulate that the creation of these messengers by the Infinite Spirit is in some manner related to the conjoint actor's bestowal of supreme ultimate mind. When a finaliter and a paradise citizen cooperate in the trinitization of a child of time and eternity, a transaction involving the unrevealed mind potentials of the supreme ultimate, and when such an unclassified personality is dispatched to Vice Jerrington, a solitary messenger, a conjectured personality repercussion of the bestowal of such deity mind, is always assigned as guardian companion to such a creature trinitized son. This messenger accompanies the new son of destiny to the world of his assignment, and never more leaves Vice Jerrington. When thus attached to the destinies of a child of time and eternity, a solitary messenger is forever transferred to the sole supervision of the architects of the Master Universe. What the future of such an extraordinary association may be, we do not know. For ages, these partnerships of unique personalities have continued to foregather on Vice Jerrington, but not even a single pair has ever gone forth therefrom. Solitary messengers are of stationary numbers, but the trinitization of the Sons of Destiny is apparently an unlimited technique. Since each trinitized Son of Destiny has assigned to him a solitary messenger, it appears to us that at some time in the remote future the supply of messengers will become exhausted. Who will take up their work in the grand universe? Will their service be assumed by some new development among the inspired Trinity spirits? Is the grand universe at some remote period going to be more nearly administered by Trinity origin beings, while the single and dual origin creatures move on into the realms of outer space? If the messengers return to their former service, will these Sons of Destiny accompany them? Will the trinitizations between finaliters and paradise Havonas cease when the supply of solitary messengers has been absorbed as guardian companions of these Sons of Destiny? Are all our efficient solitary messengers going to be concentrated on Vice Jerrington? Are these extraordinary spirit personalities going to be eternally associated with these trinitized sons of unrevealed destiny? What significance should we attach to the fact that these couples foregathering on Vice Jerrington are under the exclusive direction of those mighty mystery beings, the architects of the Master Universe? These and many similar questions we ask ourselves, and ask numerous other orders of celestial beings, but we do not know the answers. This transaction, together with many similar occurrences in universe administration, unmistakably indicates that the personnel of the grand universe, even that of Havona and Paradise, is undergoing a definite and certain reorganization in coordination with and with reference to the vast energy evolutions now taking place throughout the realms of outer space. We incline to the belief that the eternal future will witness phenomena of universe evolution which will far transcend all that the eternal past has experienced. And we anticipate such tremendous adventures even as you should, with keen relish and ever-heightening expectation.
Presented by a divine counselor from Uversa.
Paper 24. Higher Personalities of the Infinite Spirit. On Uversa, we divide all personalities and entities of the conjoint creator into three grand divisions: the higher personalities of the infinite spirit, the messenger hosts of space, and the ministering spirits of time, those spirit beings who are concerned with teaching and ministering to the will creatures of the ascendant scheme of mortal progression. Those higher personalities of the infinite spirit that find mention in these narratives function throughout the grand universe in 7 divisions. 1. Solitary messengers. 2. Universe circuit supervisors. 3. Census directors. 4. Personal aides of the infinite spirit. 5. Associate inspectors. 6. Assigned sentinels. 7. Graduate guides. Solitary messengers, circuit supervisors, census directors, and the personal aides are characterized by the possession of tremendous endowments of anti-gravity. The solitary messengers are without known general headquarters. They roam the universe of universes. The universe circuit supervisors and the census directors maintain headquarters on the capitals of the superuniverses. The personal aides of the infinite spirit are stationed on the central Isle of Light. The associate inspectors and the assigned sentinels are respectively stationed on the capitals of the local universes and on the capitals of their component systems. The graduate guides are resident in the Havona universe and function on all its billion worlds. Most of these higher personalities have stations in the local universes, but they are not organically attached to the administrations of the evolutionary realms. Of the 7 classes composing this group, only the solitary messengers, and perhaps the personal aides, range the universe of universes. Solitary messengers are encountered from Paradise outward, through the Havona circuits to the superuniverse capitals, and thence out through the sectors and local universes with their subdivisions, and even to the inhabited worlds. Although solitary messengers belong to the higher personalities of the infinite spirit, their origin, nature, and service have been discussed in the preceding paper. 1. The Universe Circuit Supervisors. The vast power currents of space and the circuits of spirit energy may seem to operate automatically. They may appear to function without let or hindrance, but such is not the case. All these stupendous systems of energy are under control. They are subject to intelligent supervision. Universe circuit supervisors are concerned not with the realms of purely physical or material energy, the domain of the universe power directors, but with the circuits of relative spiritual energy, and with those modified circuits which are essential to the maintenance of both the highly developed spiritual beings and the Urantia or transition type of intelligent creatures. The supervisors do not give origin to circuits of energy and super essence of divinity, but in general they have to do with all higher spirit circuits of time and eternity, and with all relative spirit circuits concerned in the administration of the component parts of the grand universe. They direct and manipulate all such spirit energy circuits outside the Isle of Paradise. Universe circuit supervisors are the exclusive creation of the infinite spirit, and they function solely as the agents of the conjoint actor. They are personalized for service in the following 4 orders. 1. Supreme Circuit Supervisors. 2. Associate Circuit Supervisors. 3. Secondary Circuit Supervisors. 4. Tertiary Circuit Supervisors. The Supreme Supervisors of Havona and the Associate Supervisors of the 7 super-universes are of completed numbers. No more of these orders are being created. The Supreme Supervisors are 7 in number and are stationed on the pilot worlds of the 7 Havona circuits. The circuits of the 7 super-universes are in the charge of a marvelous group of 7 Associate Supervisors who maintain headquarters on the 7 paradise spheres of the Infinite Spirit, the worlds of the 7 Supreme Executives. From here they supervise and direct the circuits of the super-universes of space. On these paradise spheres of the Spirit, the 7 Associate Circuit Supervisors and the First Order of the Supreme Power Centers effect a liaison, which, under the direction of the Supreme Executives, results in the sub-paradise coordination of all material and spiritual circuits passing out to the 7 super-universes. On the headquarters worlds of each super-universe are stationed the secondary supervisors for the local universes of time and space. The major and minor sectors are administrative divisions of the super-governments, but are not concerned in these matters of spirit energy supervision. I do not know how many secondary circuit supervisors there are in the grand universe, but on Uversa there are 84,691 of these beings. Secondary supervisors are being created right along. From time to time they appear in groups of 70 on the worlds of the Supreme Executives. We obtain them on requisition, as we arrange for the establishment of separate circuits of spirit energy and liaison power to the newly evolving universes of our jurisdiction. A tertiary circuit supervisor functions on the headquarters world of every local universe. This order, like the secondary supervisors, is of continuous creation, being created in groups of 700. They are assigned to the local universes by the Ancients of Days. Circuit supervisors are created for their specific tasks, and they eternally serve in the groups of their original assignment. They are not rotated in service, and hence make an age-long study of the problems found in the realms of their original assignment. For example, Tertiary Circuit Supervisor number 572,842 has functioned on Salvington since the early concept of your local universe, and he is a member of the personal staff of Michael of Nebadon. Whether acting in the local or higher universes, circuit supervisors direct all concerned as to the proper circuits to employ for the transmission of all spirit messages and for the transit of all personalities. In their work of circuit supervision, these efficient beings utilize all agencies, forces, and personalities in the universe of universes. They employ the unrevealed high spirit personalities of circuit control and are ably assisted by numerous staffs composed of personalities of the infinite spirit. It is they who would isolate an evolutionary world if its planetary prince should rebel against the Universal Father and his vicegerent Son. They are able to throw any world out of certain universe circuits of the higher spiritual order, but they cannot annul the material currents of the power directors. The universe circuit supervisors have something of the same relationship to spirit circuits that the universe power directors have to material circuits. The two orders are complemental, together having the oversight of all spirit and all material circuits that are controllable and manipulatable by creatures. The circuit supervisors exercise certain oversight of those mind circuits which are spirit associated, much as the power directors have certain jurisdiction over those phases of mind which are physical energy associated, mechanical mind. In general, the functions of each order are expanded by liaison with the other, but the circuits of pure mind are subject to the supervision of neither. Neither are the two orders coordinate, In all their manifold labors, the universe circuit supervisors are subject to the 7 supreme power directors and their subordinates. While the circuit supervisors are entirely alike within their respective orders, they are all distinct individuals. They are truly personal beings, but they possess a type of other than father-endowed personality, not encountered in any other type of creature in all universal existence. Although you will recognize and know them as you journey inward towards paradise, you will have no personal relations with them. They are circuit supervisors, and they attend strictly and efficiently to their business. They deal solely with those personalities and entities having the oversight of those activities which are concerned with the circuit subject to their supervision. 2. The census directors. Notwithstanding that the cosmic mind of the universal intelligence is cognizant of the presence and whereabouts of all thinking creatures, there is operative in the universe of universes an independent method of keeping count of all will creatures. The census directors are a special and completed creation of the infinite spirit, and they exist in numbers unknown to us. They are so created as to be able to maintain perfect synchrony with the reflectivity technique of the superuniverses, while at the same time they are personally sensitive and responsive to intelligent will. These directors, by a not fully understood technique, are made immediately aware of the birth of will in any part of the grand universe. They are, therefore, always competent to give us the number, nature, and whereabouts of all will creatures in any part of the central creation and the 7 superuniverses. But they do not function on paradise. There is no need for them there. On paradise, knowledge is inherent. The deities know all things. 7 census directors operate in Havona, 1 being stationed on the pilot world of each Havona circuit. Excepting these 7 and the reserves of the order on the paradise worlds of the spirit, all census directors function under the jurisdiction of the Ancients of Days. 1 census director presides at the headquarters of each superuniverse, while subject to such a chief director are thousands upon thousands, one on the capital of every local universe. All personalities of this order are equal, excepting those on the Havona pilot worlds and the 7 superuniverse chiefs. In the 7th superuniverse there are 100,000 census directors, and this number consists entirely of those assignable to local universes. It does not include the personal staff of Usatia, the superuniverse chief of all Orvanton directors. Usatia, like the other superuniverse chiefs, is not directly attuned to the registration of intelligent will. He is solely attuned to his subordinates, stationed in the Orvanton universes. Thus, he acts as a magnificent totaling personality for their reports coming in from the capitals of the local creations. From time to time, the official recorders of Uversa place on their records the status of the superuniverse as it is indicated by the registrations in and upon the personality of Usatia. Such census data is indigenous to the superuniverses. These reports are transmitted neither to Havona nor to Paradise. The census directors are concerned with human beings, as with other will creatures, only to the extent of recording the fact of will function. They are not concerned with the records of your life and its doings. They are not in any sense recording personalities. The census director of Nebadon, number 81,412 of Orvanton, now stationed on Selvington, is at this very moment personally conscious and aware of your living presence here on Urantia, and he will afford the records confirmation of your death the moment you cease to function as a will creature. Census directors register the existence of a new will creature when the first act of will is performed. They indicate the death of a will creature when the last act of will takes place. The partial emergence of will observed in the reactions of certain of the higher animals does not belong to the domain of the census directors. They keep count of nothing but bona fide will creatures. and they are responsive to nothing but will function. Exactly how they register the function of will, we do not know. These beings always have been and always will be census directors. They would be comparatively useless in any other division of universe labor, but they are infallible in function. They never default, neither do they falsify. And notwithstanding their marvelous powers and unbelievable prerogatives, they are persons. They have recognizable spirit presence and form. 3. Personal aids of the Infinite Spirit. We have no authentic knowledge as to the time or manner of the creation of the personal aids. Their number must be legion, but it is not of record on Uversa. From conservative deductions based on our knowledge of their work, I venture to estimate that their number extends high into the trillions. We hold the opinion that the Infinite Spirit is not limited as to numbers in the creation of these personal aids. The personal aids of the Infinite Spirit exist for the exclusive assistance of the paradise presence of the third person of deity. Although attached directly to the Infinite Spirit and located on paradise, they flash to and fro to the uttermost parts of creation. Wherever the circuits of the conjoint Creator extend, there these personal aids may appear for the purpose of executing the bidding of the Infinite Spirit. They traverse space much as do the solitary messengers, but are not persons in the sense that the messengers are. The personal aids are all equal and identical. They disclose no differentiation of individuality. Though the conjoint actor looks upon them as true personalities, it is difficult for others to regard them as real persons. They do not manifest a spirit presence to other spirit beings. Paradise origin beings are always aware of the proximity of these aids, but we do not recognize a personality presence. The lack of such a presence form undoubtedly renders them all the more serviceable to the third person of deity. Of all the revealed orders of spirit beings taking origin in the Infinite Spirit, the personal aids are about the only ones you will not encounter on your inward ascent to paradise. 4. The Associate Inspectors. The 7 supreme executives on the 7 paradise spheres of the Infinite Spirit collectively function as the administrative board of super-managers for the 7 super-universes. The Associate Inspectors are the personal embodiment of the authority of the supreme executives to the local universes of time and space. These high observers of the affairs of the local creations are the joint offspring of the Infinite Spirit and the 7 master spirits of paradise. In the near times of eternity, 700,000 were personalized, and their reserve corps abides on paradise. Associate inspectors work under the direct supervision of the 7 supreme executives, being their personal and powerful representatives to the local universes of time and space. An inspector is stationed on the headquarters sphere of each local creation and is a close associate of the resident Union of Days. The associate inspectors receive reports and recommendations only from their subordinates, the assigned sentinels stationed on the capitals of the local systems of inhabited worlds, while they make reports only to their immediate superior, the supreme executive of the super-universe concerned. 5. The assigned sentinels. The assigned sentinels are coordinating personalities and liaison representatives of the 7 supreme executives. They were personalized on paradise by the Infinite Spirit and were created for the specific purposes of their assignment. They are of stationary numbers, and there are exactly 7 billion in existence. Much as an associate inspector represents the 7 supreme executives to a whole local universe, so in each of the 10,000 systems of that local creation there is an assigned sentinel who acts as the direct representative of the far distant and supreme Board of Super Control for the affairs of all 7 super-universes. The sentinels on duty in the local system governments of Orvantan are acting under the direct authority of Supreme Executive Number 7, the coordinator of the 7th super-universe. But in their administrative organization, All sentinels commissioned in a local universe are subordinate to the associate inspector stationed at universe headquarters. Within a local creation, the assigned sentinels serve in rotation, being transferred from system to system. They are usually changed every millennium of local universe time. They are among the highest-ranking personalities stationed on a system capital, but they never participate in deliberations concerned with system affairs. In the local systems, they serve as the ex officio heads of the 4 and 20 administrators hailing from the evolutionary worlds, but otherwise, ascending mortals have little contact with them. The sentinels are almost exclusively concerned in keeping the associate inspector of their universe fully informed on all matters relating to the welfare and state of the systems of their assignment. Assigned sentinels and associate inspectors do not report to the supreme executives through a super-universe headquarters. They are responsible solely to the supreme executive of the super-universe concerned. Their activities are distinct from the administration of the Ancients of Days. The supreme executives, associate inspectors, and assigned sentinels, together with the omniafim and a host of unrevealed personalities, constitute an efficient, direct, centralized but far-flung system of advisory and administrative coordination of all the grand universe of things and beings. 6. The Graduate Guides. The Graduate Guides, as a group, sponsor and conduct the High University of Technical Instruction and Spiritual Training, which is so essential to mortal attainment of the goal of the ages, God, rest, and then eternity of perfected service. These highly personal beings take their name from the nature and purpose of their work. They are exclusively devoted to the tasks of guiding the mortal graduates from the super-universes of time through the Havona course of instruction and training, which serves to prepare the ascending pilgrims for admission to paradise and the core of the finality. I am not forbidden to undertake to tell you of the work of these graduate guides, but it is so ultra-spiritual that I despair of being able to adequately portray to the material mind a concept of their manifold activities. On the mansion worlds, after your vision range is extended and you are freed from the fetters of material comparisons, you can begin to comprehend the meaning of those realities which eye cannot see nor ear hear, and which have never entered the concept of human minds, even those things which God has prepared for those who love such eternal verities. You are not always to be so limited in the range of your vision and spiritual comprehension. The graduate guides are engaged in piloting the pilgrims of time through the 7 circuits of Havona worlds. The guide who greets you upon your arrival on the receiving world of the outer Havona circuit will remain with you throughout your entire career on the heavenly circuits. Though you will associate with countless other personalities during your sojourn on 1 billion worlds, your graduate guide will follow you to the end of your Havona progression and will witness your entrance into the terminal slumber of time, the sleep of eternity transit to the paradise goal, where, upon awakening, you will be greeted by the paradise companion assigned to welcome you and perhaps to remain with you until you are initiated as a member of the mortal core of the finality. The number of graduate guides is beyond the power of human minds to grasp, and they continue to appear. Their origin is something of a mystery. They have not existed from eternity. They mysteriously appear as they are needed. There is no record of a graduate guide in all the realms of the central universe until that far distant day when the first mortal pilgrim of all time made his way to the outer belt of the central creation. The instant he arrived on the pilot world of the outer circuit, he was met with friendly greetings by Malvorian, the first of the graduate guides, and now the chief of their Supreme Council and the director of their vast educational organization. On the Paradise Records of Havona, in the section denominated Graduate Guides, there appears this initial entry. And Malvorian, the first of this order, did greet and instruct the pilgrim discoverer of Havona. and did conduct him from the outer circuits of initial experience step by step and circuit by circuit, until he stood in the very presence of the source and destiny of all personality, subsequently crossing the threshold of eternity to paradise. At that far distant time I was attached to the service of the Ancients of Days on Uversa, and we all rejoiced in the assurance that, eventually, pilgrims from our superuniverse would reach Havona. For ages, we had been taught that the evolutionary creatures of space would attain paradise, and the thrill of all time swept through the heavenly courts when the first pilgrim actually arrived. The name of this pilgrim discoverer of Havona is Grand Fanda, and he hailed from planet 341 of System 84 in constellation 62 of local universe 1131, situated in superuniverse number 1. His arrival was the signal for the establishment of the broadcast service of the universe of universes. Theretofore, only the broadcasts of the superuniverses and the local universes had been in operation, but the announcement of the arrival of Grand Fanda at the portals of Havona signalized the inauguration of the Space Reports of Glory, so named because the initial universe broadcast reported the Havona arrival of the first of the evolutionary beings to attain entrance upon the goal of ascendant existence. Graduate guides never leave the Havona worlds. They are dedicated to the service of the graduate pilgrims of time and space. And you will sometime meet these noble beings face to face, if you do not reject the certain and all-perfected plan designed to effect your survival and ascension. 7. Origin of the Graduate Guides. Though evolution is not the order of the central universe, we believe that the graduate guides are the perfected or more experienced members of another order of central universe creatures, the Havona servitals. Graduate guides show such a breadth of sympathy and such a capacity for understanding the ascendant creatures that we are convinced they have gained this culture by actual service in the superuniverse realms as the Havona servitals of universal ministry. If this view is not correct, how then can we account for the continuous disappearance of the senior or more experienced servitals? A servital will be long absent from Havona on superuniverse assignment, having been on many such missions previously. Will return home, be granted the privilege of personal contact with the Paradise Central Shining, will be embraced by the luminous persons, and disappear from the recognition of his spirit fellows, nevermore to reappear among those of his kind. On returning from superuniverse service, a Havona servital may enjoy numerous divine embraces, and emerge therefrom merely an exalted servital. Experiencing the luminous embrace does not necessarily signify that the servital must translate into a graduate guide, but almost 1/4 of those who achieve the divine embrace never return to the service of the realms. There appears on the high records a succession of such entries as this: and servital number 842,842,682,846,782 of Havona, named Sudna, came over from the superuniverse service, was received on paradise, knew the Father, entered the divine embrace, and is not. When such an entry appears on the records, the career of such a servital is closed. But in just 3 moments, a little less than 3 days of your time, a newborn graduate guide spontaneously appears on the outer circuit of the Havona universe, and the number of graduate guides, allowing for a slight difference due no doubt to those in transition, exactly equals the number of vanished servitals. There is an additional reason for supposing the graduate guides to be evolved Havona servitals, and that is the unfailing tendency of these guides and their associated servitals to form such extraordinary attachments. The manner in which these supposedly separate orders of beings understand and sympathize with one another is wholly inexplicable. It is refreshing and inspiring to witness their mutual devotion. The seven master spirits and the associated seven supreme power directors, respectively, are the personal repositories of the mind potential and of the power potential of the Supreme Being, which he does not as yet operate personally. And when these paradise associates collaborate to create the Havona servitals, the latter are inherently involved in certain phases of supremacy. Havona servitals are thus, in actuality, a reflection in the perfect central universe of certain evolutionary potentialities of the time-space domains, all of which is disclosed when a servital undergoes transformation and recreation. We believe that this transformation takes place in response to the will of the Infinite Spirit, undoubtedly acting in behalf of the Supreme. Graduate guides are not created by the Supreme Being, but we all conjecture that experiential deity is in some way concerned in those transactions which bring these beings into existence. The Havona now traversed by ascending mortals differs in many respects from the central universe as it was before the times of Grand Fanda. The arrival of mortal ascenders on the Havona circuits inaugurated sweeping modifications in the organization of the central and divine creation, modifications undoubtedly initiated by the Supreme Being, the God of evolutionary creatures, in response to the arrival of the first of his experiential children from the seven superuniverses. The appearance of the graduate guides, together with the creation of the tertiary supernifum, is indicative of these performances of God the Supreme.
Presented by a divine counselor of Uversa.
Paper 25. The Messenger Hosts of Space. Ranking intermediately in the family of the Infinite Spirit are the Messenger Hosts of Space. These versatile beings function as the connecting links between the higher personalities and the ministering spirits. The messenger hosts include the following orders of celestial beings. 1. Havona servitals. 2. Universal conciliators. 3. Technical advisors. 4. Custodians of records on paradise. 5. Celestial recorders. 6. Urantia companions. 7. Paradise companions. Of the 7 groups enumerated, only 3, servitals, conciliators, and Urantia companions, are created as such. The remaining 4 represent attainment levels of the angelic orders. In accordance with inherent nature and attained status, the messenger hosts variously serve in the universe of universes, but always subject to the direction of those who rule the realms of their assignment. 1. The Havona servitals. Though denominated servitals, these midway creatures of the central universe are not servants in any menial sense of the word. In the spiritual world, there is no such thing as menial work. All service is sacred and exhilarating. Neither do the higher orders of beings look down upon the lower orders of existence. The Havona servitals are the joint creative work of the 7 master spirits and their associates, the 7 supreme power directors. This creative collaboration comes the nearest to being the pattern for the long list of reproductions of the dual order in the evolutionary universes, extending from the creation of a bright and morning star by a creator-son, creative spirit liaison, down to sex procreation on worlds like Urantia. The number of servitals is prodigious, and more are being created all the time. They appear in groups of 1,000 on the 3rd moment following the assembly of the master spirits and the supreme power directors at their joint area in the far northerly sector of paradise. Every 4th servital is more physical in type than the others. That is, out of each 1,000, 750 are apparently true to spirit type, but 250 are semi-physical in nature. These 4th creatures are somewhat on the order of material beings, material in the Havona sense, resembling the physical power directors more than the master spirits. In personality relationships, the spiritual is dominant over the material, even though it does not now so appear on Urantia. And in the production of Havona servitals, the law of spirit dominance prevails. The established ratio yields 3 spiritual beings to 1 semi-physical. The newly created servitals, together with newly appearing graduate guides, all pass through the courses of training which the senior guides continuously conduct on each of the 7 Havona circuits. Servitals are then assigned to the activities for which they are best adapted, and since they are of 2 types, spiritual and semi-physical, there are few limits to the range of work these versatile beings can do. The higher or spirit groups are assigned selectively to the services of the Father, the Son, and the Spirit, and to the work of the 7 master spirits. In large numbers they are dispatched from time to time to serve on the study worlds encircling the headquarters spheres of the 7 superuniverses, the worlds devoted to the final training and spiritual culture of the ascending souls of time who are preparing for advancement to the circuits of Havona. Both spirit servitals and their more physical fellows are also designated assistants and associates of the graduate guides in helping and instructing the various orders of ascending creatures who have attained Havona and who seek to attain paradise. The Havona servitals and the graduate guides manifest a transcendent devotion to their work and a touching affection for one another, an affection which, while spiritual, you could only understand by comparison with the phenomenon of human love. There is divine pathos in the separation of the servitals from the guides, as so often occurs when the servitals are dispatched on missions beyond the limits of the central universe. But they go with joy and not with sorrow. The satisfying joy of high duty is the eclipsing emotion of spiritual beings. Sorrow cannot exist in the face of the consciousness of divine duty faithfully performed. And when man's ascending soul stands before the Supreme Judge, the decision of eternal import will not be determined by material successes or quantitative achievements. The verdict reverberating through the high courts declares, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few essentials. You shall be made ruler over universe realities." On superuniverse service, the Havona servitals are always assigned to that domain presided over by the Master Spirit whom they most resemble in general and special spirit prerogatives. They serve only on the educational worlds surrounding the capitals of the 7 superuniverses, and the last report of Uversa indicates that almost 138 billion servitals were ministering on its 490 satellites. They engage in an endless variety of activities in connection with the work of these educational worlds, comprising the superuniversities of the superuniverse of Orvantan. Here they are your companions. They have come down from your next career to study you and to inspire you with the reality and certainty of your eventual graduation from the universes of time to the realms of eternity. And in these contacts, the servitals gain that preliminary experience of ministering to the ascending creatures of time, which is so helpful in their subsequent work on the Havona circuits as associates of the graduate guides, or, as translated servitals, as graduate guides themselves. 2. The Universal Conciliators. For every Havona servital created, 7 universal conciliators are brought into being, 1 in each superuniverse. This creative enactment involves a definite superuniverse technique of reflective response to transactions taking place on Paradise. On the headquarters worlds of the 7 superuniverses, there function the 7 reflections of the 7 master spirits. It is difficult to undertake to portray the natures of these reflective spirits to material minds. They are true personalities. Still, each member of a superuniverse group is perfectly reflective of just one of the 7 master spirits. And every time the master spirits associate themselves with the power directors for the purpose of creating a group of Havona servitals, there is a simultaneous focalization upon one of the reflective spirits in each of the super-universe groups, and forthwith and full-fledgedly an equal number of universal conciliators appear on the headquarters worlds of the supercreations. If, in the creation of servitals, Master Spirit number 7 should take the initiative, none but the reflective spirits of the 7th order would become pregnant with conciliators. And concurrently with the creation of 1,000 Orvanton-like servitals, 1,000 of the 7th order conciliators would appear on each super-universe capital. Out of these episodes, reflecting the sevenfold nature of the master spirits, arise the 7 created orders of conciliators serving in each super-universe. Conciliators of pre-paradise status do not serve interchangeably between super-universes, being restricted to their native segments of creation. Every super-universe core, embracing 1/7 of each created order, therefore spends a very long time under the influence of one of the master spirits, to the exclusion of the others, for, while all 7 are reflected on the super-universe capitals, only one is dominant in each supercreation. Each of the 7 supercreations is actually pervaded by that one of the master spirits who presides over its destinies. Each super-universe thus becomes like a gigantic mirror, reflecting the nature and character of the supervising master spirit, and all of this is further continued in every subsidiary local universe by the presence and function of the creative mother spirits. The effect of such an environment upon evolutionary growth is so profound that in their post-super-universe careers, the conciliators collectively manifest 49 experiential viewpoints, or insights, each angular, hence incomplete, but all mutually compensatory, and together tending to encompass the circle of supremacy. In each super-universe, the universal conciliators find themselves strangely and innately segregated into groups of 4, associations in which they continue to serve. In each group, 3 are spirit personalities, and 1, like the 4th creatures of the servitals, is a semi-material being. This quartet constitutes a conciliating commission and is made up as follows. 1. The judge-arbiter. The one unanimously designated by the other 3 is the most competent and best qualified to act as judicial head of the group. 2. The spirit advocate. The one appointed by the judge-arbiter to present evidence and to safeguard the rights of all personalities involved in any matter assigned to the adjudication of the conciliating commission. 3. The divine executioner. The conciliator qualified by inherent nature to make contact with the material beings of the realms and to execute the decisions of the commission. Divine executioners, being 4th creatures, quasi-material beings, are almost but not quite visible to the short-range vision of the mortal races. 4. The recorder. The remaining member of the commission automatically becomes the recorder, the clerk of the tribunal. He makes certain that all records are properly prepared for the archives of the super-universe and for the records of the local universe. If the commission is serving on an evolutionary world, a 3rd report, with the assistance of the executioner, is prepared for the physical records of the system government of jurisdiction. When in session, a commission functions as a group of 3, since the advocate is detached during adjudication and participates in the formulation of the verdict only at the conclusion of the hearing. Hence, these commissions are sometimes called referee trios. The conciliators are of great value in keeping the universe of universes running smoothly. Traversing space at the seraphic rate of triple velocity, they serve as the traveling courts of the worlds, commissions devoted to the quick adjudication of minor difficulties. Were it not for these mobile and eminently fair commissions, the tribunals of the spheres would be hopelessly overspread with the minor misunderstandings of the realms. These referee trios do not pass upon matters of eternal import. The soul, the eternal prospects of a creature of time, is never placed in jeopardy by their acts. Conciliators do not deal with questions extending beyond the temporal existence and the cosmic welfare of the creatures of time. But when a commission has once accepted jurisdiction of a problem, its rulings are final and always unanimous. There is no appeal from the decision of the judge-arbiter. 3. The far-reaching service of conciliators. Conciliators maintain group headquarters on the capital of their superuniverse, where their primary reserve corps is held. Their secondary reserves are stationed on the capitals of the local universes. The younger and less experienced commissioners begin their service on the lower worlds like Urantia, and are advanced to the adjudication of greater problems after they have acquired riper experience. The order of conciliators is wholly dependable. Not one has ever gone astray. Though not infallible in wisdom and judgment, they are of unquestioned reliability and unerring in faithfulness. They take origin on the headquarters of a superuniverse and eventually return thereto, advancing through the following levels of universe service. 1. Conciliators to the worlds. Whenever the supervising personalities of the individual worlds become greatly perplexed or actually deadlocked concerning the proper procedure under existing circumstances, and if the matter is not of sufficient importance to be brought before the regularly constituted tribunals of the realm, then, upon the receipt of a petition of 2 personalities, one from each contention, a conciliating commission will begin to function forthwith. When these administrative and jurisdictional difficulties have been placed in the hands of the conciliators for study and adjudication, they are supreme in authority. But they will not formulate a decision until all the evidence has been heard, and there is absolutely no limit to their authority to call witnesses from anywhere and everywhere. And while their decisions may not be appealed, sometimes matters so develop that the Commission closes its records at a given point, concludes its opinions, and transfers the whole question to the higher tribunals of the realm. The Commissioner's decisions are placed on the planetary records, and, if necessary, are put into effect by the divine executioner. His power is very great, and the range of his activities on an inhabited world is very wide. Divine executioners are masterful manipulators of that which is in the interests of that which ought to be. Their work is sometimes carried out for the apparent welfare of the realm, and sometimes their acts on the worlds of time and space are difficult of explanation. Though executing decrees in defiance of neither natural law nor the ordained usages of the realm, they do ofttimes effect their strange doings and enforce the mandates of the conciliators in accordance with the higher laws of the system administration. 2. Conciliators to the system headquarters. From service on the evolutionary worlds, these commissions of 4 are advanced to duty on a system headquarters. Here they have much work to do, and they prove to be the understanding friends of men, angels, and other spirit beings. The referee trios are not so much concerned with personal differences as with group contentions, and with misunderstandings arising between different orders of creatures. And on a system headquarters there live both spiritual and material beings, as well as the combined types, such as the material sons. The moment the creators bring into existence evolving individuals with the power of choice, that moment a departure is made from the smooth working of divine perfection. Misunderstandings are certain to arise, and provision for the fair adjustment of these honest differences of viewpoint must be made. We should all remember that the all-wise and all-powerful creators could have made the local universes just as perfect as Havona. No conciliating commissions need function in the central universe. But the creators did not choose in their all-wisdom to do this. And while they have produced universes which abound in differences and teem with difficulties, They have likewise provided the mechanisms and the means for composing all these differences and for harmonizing all this seeming confusion. 3. The Constellation Conciliators. From service in the systems, the conciliators are promoted to the adjudication of the problems of a constellation, taking up the minor difficulties arising between its 100 systems of inhabited worlds. Not many problems developing on the constellation headquarters fall under their jurisdiction, but they are kept busy going from system to system gathering evidence and preparing preliminary statements. If the contention is honest, if the difficulties arise out of sincere differences of opinion and honest diversity of viewpoints, no matter how few persons may be involved, no matter how apparently trivial the misunderstanding, a conciliating commission can always be had to pass upon the merits of the controversy. 4. Conciliators to the local universes. In this larger work of a universe, the commissioners are of great assistance to both the Melchizedeks and the magisterial sons, and to the constellation rulers and the hosts of personalities concerned with the coordination and administration of the 100 constellations. The different orders of seraphim and other residents of the headquarters spheres of a local universe also avail themselves of the help and decisions of the referee trios. It is almost impossible to explain the nature of those differences which may arise in the detailed affairs of a system, a constellation, or a universe. Difficulties do develop, but they are very unlike the petty trials and travails of material existence as it is lived on the evolutionary worlds. 5. Conciliators to the super-universe minor sectors. From the problems of local universes, the commissioners are advanced to the study of questions arising in the minor sectors of their super-universe. The farther they ascend inward from the individual planets, the fewer are the material duties of the divine executioner. Gradually he assumes a new role of mercy-justice interpreter, at the same time being quasi-material, keeping the commission as a whole in sympathetic touch with the material aspects of its investigations. 6. Conciliators to the super-universe major sectors. The character of the work of the commissioners continues to change as they advance. There is less and less of misunderstanding to adjudicate, and more of mysterious phenomena to explain and interpret. From stage to stage they are evolving from arbiters of differences to explainers of mysteries, judges evolving into interpretative teachers. Arbiters of those who through ignorance permit difficulties and misunderstandings to arise, they once were, but they are now becoming instructors of those who are sufficiently intelligent and tolerant to avoid clashes of mind and wars of opinions. The higher a creature's education, the more respect he has for the knowledge, experience, and opinions of others. 7. Conciliators to the super-universe. Here the conciliators become coordinate, 4 mutually understood and perfectly functioning arbiter teachers. The divine executioner is divested of retributive power and becomes the physical voice of the spirit trio. By this time these counselors and teachers have become expertly familiar with most of the actual problems and difficulties encountered in the conduct of super-universe affairs. Thus they become wonderful advisers and wise teachers of the ascending pilgrims who are in residence on the educational spheres surrounding the headquarters worlds of the super-universes. All conciliators serve under the general supervision of the Ancients of Days, and under the immediate direction of the image aids, until such time as they are advanced to paradise. During the paradise sojourn, they report to the Master Spirit, who presides over the super-universe of their origin. The super-universe registries do not enumerate those conciliators who have passed beyond their jurisdiction, and such commissions are widely scattered through the grand universe. The last report of registry on Uversa gives the number operating in Orvantan as almost 18 trillion commissions, over 70 trillion individuals. But these are only a very small fraction of the multitude of conciliators that have been created in Orvantan. That number is of an altogether higher magnitude, and is the equivalent of the total number of Havona servitals, with allowances for the transmutation into graduate guides. From time to time, as the numbers of the super-universe conciliators increase, they are translated to the Council of Perfection on Paradise, from which they subsequently emerge as the coordinating core evolved by the infinite spirit for the universe of universes, a marvelous group of beings which is constantly increasing in numbers and efficiency. By experiential ascent and paradise training, they have acquired a unique grasp of the emerging reality of the Supreme Being, and they roam the universe of universes on special assignment. The members of a conciliating commission are never separated. A group of 4 forever serve together just as they were originally associated. Even in their glorified service, they continue to function as quartets of accumulated cosmic experience and perfected experiential wisdom. They are eternally associated as the embodiment of the supreme justice of time and space. 4. Technical advisors. These legal and technical minds of the spirit world were not created as such. From the early Supernaphim and Omniaphim, 1 million of the most orderly minds were chosen by the infinite spirit as the nucleus of this vast and versatile group. And ever since that far distant time, actual experience in the application of the laws of perfection to the plans of evolutionary creation has been required of all who aspire to become technical advisors. The technical advisors are recruited from the ranks of the following personality orders. 1. The Supernaphim. 2. The Sekanaphim. 3. The Tertiaphim. 4. The Omniaphim. 5. The Seraphim. 6. Certain types of ascending mortals. 7. Certain types of ascending midwayers. At the present time, not counting the mortals and midwayers who are all of transient attachment, the number of technical advisors registered on Uversa and operating in Orvantan is slightly in excess of 61 trillion. Technical advisors frequently function as individuals, but are organized for service and maintain common headquarters on the spheres of assignment in groups of 7. In each group, at least 5 must be of permanent status, while 2 may be of temporary association. Ascending mortals and ascending midway creatures serve on these advisory commissions while pursuing the paradise ascent, but they do not enter the regular courses of training for technical advisors, nor do they ever become permanent members of the order. Those mortals and midwayers who serve transiently with the advisors are chosen for such work because of their expertness in the concept of universal law and supreme justice. As you journey toward your paradise goal, constantly acquiring added knowledge and enhanced skill, you are continuously afforded the opportunity to give out to others the wisdom and experience you have already accumulated. All the way into Havona, you enact the role of a pupil teacher. You will work your way through the ascending levels of this vast, experiential university by imparting to those just below you the newfound knowledge of your advancing career. In the universal regime, you are not reckoned as having possessed yourself of knowledge and truth until you have demonstrated your ability and your willingness to impart this knowledge and truth to others. After long training and actual experience, any of the ministering spirits above the status of cherubim are permitted to receive permanent appointment as technical advisors. All candidates voluntarily enter this order of service, but having once assumed such responsibilities, they may not relinquish them. Only the ancients of days can transfer these advisors to other activities. The training of technical advisors begun in the Melchizedek colleges of the local universes, continues to the courts of the Ancients of Days. From this super-universe training, they proceed to the schools of the Seven Circles, located on the pilot worlds of the Havona circuits. And from the pilot worlds, they are received into the College of the Ethics of Law and the Technique of Supremacy, the Paradise Training School for the perfecting of technical advisors. These advisors are more than legal experts. They are students and teachers of applied law, the laws of the universe applied to the lives and destinies of all who inhabit the vast domains of the far-flung creation. As time passes, they become the living law libraries of time and space, preventing endless trouble and needless delays by instructing the personalities of time regarding the forms and modes of procedure most acceptable to the rulers of eternity. They are able so to counsel the workers of space as to enable them to function in harmony with the requirements of paradise. They are the teachers of all creatures concerning the technique of the creators. Such a living library of applied law could not be created. Such beings must be evolved by actual experience. The infinite deities are existential, hence are compensated for lack of experience. They know all even before they experience all. But they do not impart this non-experiential knowledge to their subordinate creatures. Technical advisors are dedicated to the work of preventing delay, facilitating progress, and counseling achievement. There is always a best and right way to do things. There is always the technique of perfection, a divine method, and these advisors know how to direct us all in the finding of this better way. These exceedingly wise and practical beings are always closely associated with the service and work of the universal censors. The Melchizedeks are provided with an able corps. The rulers of the systems, constellations, universes, and super-universe sectors are all bountifully supplied with these technical or legal reference minds of the spiritual world. A special group act as law counselors to the life carriers, advising these sons concerning the extent of permissible departure from the established order of life propagation, and otherwise instructing them respecting their prerogatives and latitudes of function. They are the advisors of all classes of beings regarding the proper usages and techniques of all spirit world transactions, but they do not directly and personally deal with the material creatures of the realms. Besides counseling regarding legal usages, technical advisors are equally devoted to the efficient interpretation of all laws concerning creature beings, physical, mindal, and spiritual. They are available to the universal conciliators and to all others who desire to know the truth of law. In other words, to know how the supremacy of deity may be depended upon to react in a given situation, having factors of an established physical, mindal, and spiritual order. They even essay to elucidate the technique of the ultimate. Technical advisors are selected and tested beings. I have never known one of them to go astray. We have no records on Uversa of their ever having been adjudged in contempt of the divine laws they so effectively interpret and so eloquently expound. There is no known limit to the domain of their service. Neither has any been placed upon their progress. They continue as advisors even to the portals of paradise. The whole universe of law and experience is open to them. 5. The custodians of records on paradise. From among the tertiary Supernifem in Havona, certain of the senior chief recorders are chosen as custodians of records, as keepers of the formal archives of the Isle of Light, those archives which stand in contrast to the living records of registry in the minds of the custodians of knowledge, sometimes designated the living library of paradise. The recording angels of the inhabited planets are the source of all individual records. Throughout the universes, other recorders function regarding both formal records and living records. From Urantia to Paradise, both recordings are encountered. In a local universe, more of the written records and less of the living. On Paradise, more of the living and less of the formal. On Uversa, both are equally available. Every occurrence of significance in the organized and inhabited creation is a matter of record. While events of no more than local importance find only a local recording, those of wider significance are dealt with accordingly. From the planets, systems, and constellations of Nebadon, everything of universe import is posted on Salvington. And from such universe capitals, those episodes are advanced to higher recording which pertain to the affairs of the sector and supergovernments. Paradise also has a relevant summary of superuniverse and Havona data. And this historic and cumulative story of the universe of universes is in the custody of these exalted tertiary supernifum. While certain of these beings have been dispatched to the superuniverses to serve as chiefs of records, directing the activities of the celestial recorders, not one has ever been transferred from the permanent roll call of their order. 6. The Celestial Recorders. These are the recorders who execute all records in duplicate, making an original spirit recording and a semi-material counterpart, what might be called a carbon copy. This they can do because of their peculiar ability simultaneously to manipulate both spiritual and material energy. Celestial recorders are not created as such. They are ascendant seraphim from the local universes. They are received, classified, and assigned to their spheres of work by the councils of the chiefs of records on the headquarters of the 7 superuniverses. There also are located the schools for training celestial recorders. The school on Uversa is conducted by the perfecters of wisdom and the divine counselors. As the recorders advance in universe service, they continue their system of dual recording, thus making their records always available to all classes of beings, from those of the material order to the high spirits of light. In your transition experience, as you ascend from this material world, you will always be able to consult the records of, and to be otherwise conversant with, the history and traditions of your status sphere. The recorders are a tested and tried corps. Never have I known of the defection of a celestial recorder, and never has there been discovered a falsification in their records. They are subjected to a dual inspection, their records being scrutinized by their exalted fellows from Uversa and by the mighty messengers, who certify to the correctness of the quasi-physical duplicates of the original spirit records. While the advancing recorders stationed on the subordinate spheres of record in the Orvantan universes number trillions upon trillions, those of attained status on Uversa are not quite 8 million in number. These senior or graduate recorders are the superuniverse custodians and forwarders of the sponsored records of time and space. Their permanent headquarters are in the circular abodes surrounding the area of records on Uversa. They never leave the custody of these records to others. As individuals they may be absent, but never in large numbers. Like those supernifum who have become custodians of records, the corps of celestial recorders is of permanent assignment. Once seraphim and supernifum are mustered into these services, they will respectively remain celestial recorders and custodians of records until the day of the new and modified administration of the full personalization of God the Supreme. On Uversa, these senior celestial recorders can show the records of everything of cosmic import in all Orvantan since the far distant times of the arrival of the Ancients of Days, while on the Eternal Isle the custodians of records guard the archives of that realm which testify to the transactions of Paradise since the times of the personification of the infinite Spirit. 7. The Urantia Companions. These children of the local universe mother spirits are the friends and associates of all who live the ascending Urantia life. They are not indispensable to an ascender's real work of creature progression, neither do they in any sense displace the work of the seraphic guardians, who often accompany their mortal associates on the paradise journey. The Urantia companions are simply gracious hosts to those who are just beginning the long inward ascent. They are also skillful play sponsors, and are ably assisted in this work by the reversion directors. Though you will have earnest and progressively difficult tasks to perform on the Urantia training worlds of Nebadon, you will always be provided with regular seasons of rest and reversion. Throughout the journey to paradise there will always be time for rest and spirit play. And in the career of light and life there is always time for worship and new achievement. These Urantia companions are such friendly associates that when you finally leave the last phase of the Urantia experience, as you prepare to embark upon the super-universe spirit adventure, you will truly regret that these companionable creatures cannot accompany you, but they serve exclusively in the local universes. At every stage of the ascending career, all contactable personalities will be friendly and companionable. But not until you meet the Paradise Companions will you find another group so devoted to friendship and companionship. The work of the Urantia Companions is more fully depicted in those narratives dealing with the affairs of your local universe. 8. The Paradise Companions. The Paradise Companions are a composite or assembled group recruited from the ranks of the Seraphim, Sekanophim, Supernophim, and Omniophim. Though serving for what you would regard as an extraordinary length of time, they are not of permanent status. When this ministry has been completed, as a rule, but not invariably, they return to those duties they performed when summoned to paradise service. Members of the angelic hosts are nominated for this service by the local universe mother spirits, by the super-universe reflective spirits, and by Majeston of Paradise. They are summoned to the central aisle and are commissioned as paradise companions by one of the 7 master spirits. Aside from permanent status on paradise, this temporary service of paradise companionship is the highest honor ever conferred upon the ministering spirits. These selected angels are dedicated to the service of companionship, and are assigned as associates to all classes of beings who may chance to be alone on paradise, chiefly to the ascendant mortals, but also to all others who are alone on the central aisle. Paradise companions have nothing especial to accomplish in behalf of those with whom they fraternize. They are simply companions. Almost every other being you mortals will encounter during your paradise sojourn, aside from your fellow pilgrims, will have something definite to do with you or for you. But these companions are assigned only to be with you, and to commune with you as personality associates. They are often assisted in their ministry by the gracious and brilliant paradise citizens. Mortals come from races that are very social. The creators well know that it is not good for man to be alone, and provision is accordingly made for companionship, even on paradise. If you, as an ascendant mortal, should reach paradise in the company of the companion or close associate of your earthly career, or if your seraphic guardian of destiny should chance to arrive with you or were waiting for you, then no permanent companion would be assigned you. But if you arrive alone, a companion will certainly welcome you as you awaken on the Isle of Light from the terminal sleep of time. Even if it is known that you will be accompanied by someone of ascendant association, temporary companions will be designated to welcome you to the eternal shores, and to escort you to the reservation made ready for the reception of you and your associates. You may be certain of being warmly welcomed when you experience the resurrection into eternity on the everlasting shores of paradise. Reception companions are assigned during the terminal days of the ascender's sojourn on the last circuit of Havona, and they carefully examine the records of mortal origin and eventful ascent through the worlds of space and the circles of Havona. When they greet the mortals of time, they are already well versed in the careers of these arriving pilgrims, and immediately prove to be sympathetic and intriguing companions. During your pre-finaliter sojourn on Paradise, if for any reason you should be temporarily separated from your associate of the ascending career, mortal or seraphic, a Paradise companion would be forthwith assigned for counsel and companionship. When once assigned to an ascendant mortal of solitary residence on Paradise, the companion remains with this person until he either is rejoined by his ascendant associates or is duly mustered into the corps of the finality. Paradise companions are assigned in order of waiting, except that an ascender is never placed in the charge of a companion whose nature is unlike his super-universe type. If a Urantia mortal were arriving on Paradise today, there would be assigned to him the first waiting companion either of origin in Orvantan or otherwise of the nature of the seventh master spirit. Hence the Omniaphim serve not with the ascended creatures from the seven super-universes. Many additional services are performed by the Paradise companions. If an ascending mortal should reach the central universe alone, and while traversing Havona, should fail in some phase of the deity adventure, in due course he would be remanded to the universes of time, and forthwith a call would be made to the reserves of the Paradise companions. One of this order would be assigned to follow the defeated pilgrim, to be with him and to comfort and cheer him, and to remain with him until he returned to the central universe to resume the Paradise ascent. If an ascending pilgrim met defeat in the deity adventure while traversing Havona, in the company of an ascending seraphim, the guardian angel of the mortal career, she would elect to accompany her mortal associate. These seraphim always volunteer, and are permitted to accompany their long-time mortal comrades back to the service of time and space. But not so with too closely associated mortal ascenders. If one attains God, while the other temporarily fails, the successful individual invariably chooses to go back to the evolutionary creations with the disappointed personality, but this is not permitted. Instead, a call is made to the reserves of the Paradise companions, and one of the volunteers is selected to accompany the disappointed pilgrim. A volunteer Paradise citizen then becomes associated with a successful mortal, who tarries on the central isle, awaiting the Havona return of the defeated comrade, and in the meantime teaches in certain Paradise schools, presenting the adventurous story of the evolutionary ascent.
Sponsored by one high in authority from Uversa.